Well, Brendan Rodgers' first home run as an Astro was not enough. The Astros could not scrape more than 3 runs across the board. We'll talk about this, some questionable decisions in the box on this edition of Sub 500 Astros.
Yainel Diaz, this is Locked On Astros.
Hello and welcome to Locked On Astros, your daily Astros podcast. Here are your hosts, Eric the Man Huysman and Brett H-Town Wheelhouse Chancey.
We are Locked On Houston Astros, and we hope that you join us for a daily Locked On Astros podcast. My name is Eric Huysman. You can find me on X at Eric Talkstros. Find the show at Locked On Astros, your team every day. Brett, where can I find you at?
They can find me at H-Town Wheelhouse on X, Instagram, and TikTok. They can find me at Stros411 on X and on Facebook. And Back to the Bullpen on X, on Instagram, on iHeartRadio, and YouTube, where I'm always positive, always Stros.
Is your nose growing? Should we start calling you Pinocchio? Hey guys, thank you for making Locked On Astros podcast your first listen every day. Whether it's on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe to us. Make us first listen. Apple, Odyssey, Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcast. Go ahead and check us out. Go and become the best part of Locked On Astros Nation. That's our everydayers, people that listens to the podcast every day. And guys, today's episode is sponsored by the word bunt. We will talk about that later. It's the bad word of the day. So every time you hear us talk about the word bunt, I want you to go ahead and put in the chat, bunt. And that's going to be kind of what we're going to do for today.
Yeah, so. Exactly. No, Eric, this was a game that you just have to chalk it up to. It's 2025, and this is who the Astros are right now. It doesn't have to be who they are, at the end of the season or midway through the season, but until they decide to not make every pitcher look like they just all got called up to the pros, it is unreal. I mean, people are putting windows are closed. People are freaking out. Look, I'm not jumping off the bandwagon yet. I mean, we still have a whole season to go, and I haven't lost all hope. But when you're depending on Brendan Rodgers to come up to the plate again and do it again, things aren't going well for this team. Hayden Wesneski came out and he was shaky. I thought he was going to give up 12 runs. I mean, good for him, only putting up a 4 spot. But Lord have mercy, I thought the Brewers were just going to go into slugfest mode.
Speaking of slugfest mode, the Astros have been outscored 21-7 this year in the first inning. It's been a disaster. And with the offense struggling as bad as they've been doing, Wesneski can't go out there. You would have Taylor Scott in the first inning getting warmed up, and it's a situation you hear all the radio guys and all the newspapers guys saying, well, Ryan Gusto's in the bullpen, take that for whatever it means, but this could be a bullpen game in a situation where you've had a lot of pitchers not go deep into the games recently, and like I said, the pressure is on the pitchers. This is exactly what I meant. They have to go out there and pitch like they're trying to pitch for a shutout. Wesneski, he struggled, yes, but he went out there in the first inning, 40 pitches, and he allowed the home run. He allowed some hits, and it just seemed like he was struggling to get anything done. But to his credit, he kind of settled down and took care of business and lasted at least 4 innings, 5 hits allowed, 4 earned runs, 2 walks, 3 strikeouts, and 1 home run. But overall, it was a bad game for the Houston Astros starter.
Yeah, 5 hits for the team. 5 hits, 8 strikeouts, 3 walks, 3 RBI. That was all by 1 player. Brendan Rodgers hits his first home run as a Houston Astro. The OPS. Look, when I see OPS now, I think of ops, and offense is our ops right now. It is just bad, Eric. this lineup, I mean, you talked about it last night, how the pitching staff has to be perfect. The pitching staff can't make a mistake. And the way Wesneski started, I'm sorry, I was like, here we go, playing from behind again. And then you thought that there was a couple times where there were some long balls hit to center field that just didn't go out there. And I can't wait to get that. Like, I almost want to talk about the third segment, because I feel like that's pretty much where this game rests and lies, because it wasn't Wesneski's fault per se. It wasn't the bullpen. They put up zeros.
I'm going to disagree with you. I mean, yes, Wesneski went out there and struggled. He gave up the 4 runs, but in the first inning, like, typically you expect the offense to come up from behind, but there's so much pressure on these guys to go out there and be perfect. And then the offense just puts out a dud. You have a guy that a lot of people haven't heard about, and you can't do anything until the 7th inning. And so, yes, Wesneski put them in a bad hole, but at the same time, it's kind of what you expected with the way the offense is going. Oh, well, 4 runs, the Astros are done. There's nothing they can do. And the way they went for 7 innings, it was like, yeah, this is exactly what you expected. We already saw this movie. We know how this is going to end. How do you expect anything's going to change? And I know a lot of people are going to say, well, the Rangers, they got a new Brett Boone. He is now the hitting coach. And they went out and had, 16 hits today and scored a bunch of runs. Wow, that's all Boone, right? In one day, he did all that. No, it takes time, but it just so happened that the Rangers faced a pitcher that they did good against. This offense is struggling, but the pitching, the pressure is on the pitching. This is why I mentioned it yesterday. They're going out there and they're having to be perfect. So Wesneski is like, you know what? I've got to walk this line. Like, I've got to make sure I don't wobble this way. I don't wobble this way, or walking the tightrope, just something where he's trying to be too perfect, and he hasn't pitched in about a week. And so, unfortunately, he just didn't have his right stuff, and he wasn't comfortable. And then once he settled down in the second inning, it was a whole different story. He was a much better pitcher. So sometimes when the offense is not scoring, it does affect the pitching, unless that guy's name is Justin Verlander. And I think what we're going to be hearing pretty soon, Brett, is Hunter Brown. It doesn't matter what the offense is doing. He's going to go out there and just straight deal.
Yeah. But I do think that this is an offensive conversation. Okay. And, you know, to kind of get into it a little bit, because it is someone's like, the elephant in the room is the hitting, and the pitching's not the problem. The pitching, I mean, honestly, of all the pressure you talk about the pitching being under, the bullpen didn't feel it. They had 7 strikeouts, and Okert had 3 strikeouts in 2 innings, only 2 walks between all 4 relievers. Brian Abreu, 3 strikeouts. So it's clearly not that. Now, I want to address something, because we have a lot of our fans in the comment section talking about fire the hitting coach, fire the hitting coach, fire the hitting coach. Look, when a team goes out, and because they actually fired their hitting coach a few days ago, the day after they fired their hitting coach, I think they scored 8 runs. Okay, today they beat the Red Sox in Boston, which hasn't been done much this year. Last I saw was 6-1 Rangers. And firing a hitting coach. Now, I'll say this. Do I think that Alex Centrone, do I think that Snitker are the best hitting coaches in the league? No, I don't. But do I think they are the problem? No. They didn't, even if one of the hitting coaches called the bunt has to be laid down and executed by the player. But I love something that Chandler Rome tweeted last night. He said, oh, that's right. The hitting coach forgot to call the hit a home run play, because it's not like calling a play into the huddle and having the quarterback run the play and execute the play. And I'm telling you, I talk to Mike Stanton on a daily basis, a 19-year pro. Firing the hitting coach is not going to fix the problem. The only thing that's going to fix the problem is the Astros get their heads out of their proverbial baseball rear ends and start hitting the ball and stop swinging at pitches out of the zone. That's what's going to get it done. You can change the hitting coaches all you want to, but when those coaches get fired, you know what happens? Those players go look in the mirror and they say, that guy got fired because I'm not performing. You know what I'm saying? And so y'all can call for the hitting coach to be fired, but right now, the bottom line is the players have to execute. That's all it's about. They have to execute, period, in the story. And I don't have any other take other than the players have to execute.
All right, guys, thank you for making Locked On Astros podcast your first listen every day.
That's right. This episode is brought to you by wonderful pistachios. Get crackin', unlike the Astros bats in 2025, and get snacking with a delicious and nutritious snack that really packs a protein punch, like a Brendan Rodgers home run in this 7th inning of this game. Each 1 ounce serving has 6 grams of protein, giving you 10% of your daily value. Your better for you unsaturated fats are there to help you feel better, feel fuller, and longer. No more eating snacks of empty calories. These calories fill you up for all the right reasons. They have all 9 essential amino acids, no shells, wonderful pistachios for the grab and go ease. They have that option. The satisfying crack of opening each shell. It's like snack meditation. Whether you're running between meetings, dropping off the kids, or frustrated with the Astros offense, if you get snacking and get cracking with the snack that packs a protein punch, you'll be more happy about it. So go to wonderfulpistachios.com today and learn more.
Hey guys, thank you for making Locked On Astros podcast your first listen every day. Whether it's on YouTube, go ahead, subscribe to us, make us your first listen. Apple, Odyssey, Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcasts, go and check us out. And we'll be here all season, no matter if the Astros are losing, have a losing record, or whatever is going on. We'll be your guys all year to kind of explain what's going on, why is it happening, and we'll kind of walk you through it and talk you through it and be your kind of counselors like we did at sometimes last year, especially when the Astros got off to such a horrible start. We have to understand that, yes, they're below 500, but still at this point, they were a very bad team last year, and they're still doing better than they were last year. But I would want to kind of switch gears. It's still talking about the offense. This show is probably sponsored by the offense, but Brendan Rodgers, he was brought over as kind of afterthought. Well, we're going to go ahead and move Altuve to left field. We need some options to play second base. And so Rodgers was one of those guys that was let go by the Rockies. He actually, there's I think $5.5 million that the Rockies were supposed to pay him. I think that's about what the Astros are having to pay him, something like that. But Rodgers has been okay so far. He has a .235 batting average, .636 OPS. But this by far was the biggest hit of the season for the Houston Astros. It was a hit that you would think would have started this offense. Jumped scared, if anybody knows the Five Nights at Freddy reference, but just kind of get this offense going and just, hey, 7th inning, this guy has been dominating the offense all day, and then you have this guy that's batting 8th, and he hits a home run. Not just a home run, but a 3-run home run to get you within 1 run. And like you said, Brett, credit to the Astros bullpen for keeping them in this game.
Yeah, I mean, really, the bullpen is what kept this game realistic, kept this game close, and you can only hope to get more opportunities, and you eventually run out of outs. You're only given 27 chances. Technically, there's 27 outs that you have a chance to run through, and like we said on this podcast, because we only speak obvious truths, the team with the most points at the end of the game always wins. And the Houston Astros, it's almost like I think that some people are convinced that the Astros don't know that you have to score more runs to win. Or like I see stuff in the comments here, like Altuve doesn't care. We've got to like temper the expectations as a fan base and understand that, look, I'm just going to say it. This team is not what it has been in the past. We are seeing the effects of Kyle Tucker and Alex Bregman not being a part of this lineup. Mm-hmm. And I know Alex Bregman typically gets off to a slow start, and he's off to a career start in Boston, as I predicted he would. But you also got Kyle Tucker, who has lit Chicago on fire with his bat. And that offense is absolutely steamrolling competition, okay? All while their pitching is faltering. If the Cubs had the Astros pitching, the Cubs probably would have 3 losses under their belt total. And so you have a lineup that's not constructed really with a lot of fortitude or a lot of depth. Now, there are some things they've done better. They've reduced their chase rate. They've upped their walk weight, their walk rate. They've done some things here and there, Eric. But the bottom line is they're not getting it done. And outside of Brendan Rodgers' home run, his first home run as an Astro, there's really nothing else to look at other than the negative things that happened while they were at the plate, because they squandered their chances when they got the few guys on. They made real questionable calls. Of course, they got the bunt signal, but bunting on pitches that are high and out of the zone, hitting line drive bunts to people while you got a guy on third. I mean, it's just infuriating to see this. I don't mind sacrificing a runner over, okay? But if you're going to go with the second bunt attempt, you know what? You're going to have to be successful in that execution. And look, it's just going to have to change. Maybe once Yordan comes back, he comes back and he wakes up the offense. But then again, I don't know. When will that day come? We'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah, but Brendan Rodgers, I think anything you get from him is great, but he's not the answer for Alvarez. They need somebody else to step up. And you would think that Diaz in the situation, I believe it was the 8th inning or 9th inning. I think it was 8th inning today. He grounded into a shortstop with 2 runners on, and that would have been a big hit if he would have got something done at that point. But the Astros just continue to struggle with runners in scoring position. We thought last year was bad. This year is much worse just because, I mean, yes, today it was a good day, 1 for 5 with runners in scoring position. They left 5 runners on base, but we'll talk about some more about that in a second. But Rodgers, for the most part, do you see him getting better? Do you see him becoming more of a power option for the Astros, or do you see maybe Dubon or somebody else getting some more playing time, or do you see the Astros eventually to stir things up, maybe move somebody up from AAA at some point, or maybe even Altuve back to second?
Brendan Rodgers just hit his first home run of the season. He is not a power option.
I know.
No, this guy's not a home run hitter. He did not come here for his home run bat. He was not a legend of Coors Field like Larry Walker, who got in the Hall of Fame because of it. And it's just one of those things where, what do? You've already moved your leadoff guy out of the leadoff spot, and he's pretty much fallen almost off the offensive planet since he's moved. I don't care if a guy's batting 9th or 1st. I just want a guy to get a hit. And I really honestly don't think it matters, because no matter where you have guys hitting in the lineup, Eric, they're not hitting. I mean, if you look at this team's line, if you look at their stat line, it's really sad how bad it is. I mean, there are many of them below league average in OPS. When your lead OPS guy is Jake Myers, that's not a good sign. And even that, he's at 782. So it's not like he's hitting the cover off the ball. I mean, it's just, what do you do? I don't know. You can put Diaz 2nd, 3rd, 4th, or 5th. I don't think it will matter. You can put Rodgers. Rodgers is a bottom of the lineup guy. Caratini was in there. He was 0 for 3. He was ineffective. Yainer Diaz was in there as DH. He had 1 hit, but he's pretty much been mostly ineffective at the plate. Paredes got his 2 walks. That's great. But what to show for it? Nothing. 1 for 5 with runners in scoring position, 5 left on base. The bottom line is they just got to go in and start hitting the ball. How do they start hitting the ball? I don't know, guys. Put the ball in the bat. When ball meets bat, ball flies. And it's not happening. The only time the ball flew today, I think the second hardest hit was probably the bunt by Jose Altuve. I mean, it was that kind of a game. But we're not going to solve anything by firing the GM, by firing the coaches. This team is just who it is. And if this is their character and if this is who they are offensively, then at the end of the season, you can only hope that the American League West continues to be a steaming pile of mediocrity throughout the year and give the Astros a chance to actually squeak into the playoffs and maybe surprise somebody.
All right, guys. Thank you for making Locked On Astros podcast your first listen every day.
I love our friends at Supply House. Why? Because they have all your plumbing, your HVAC, and electrical product needs. Use the code SH5 for 5% off your first order. And coming from the house of a master electrician myself, I know all about what it takes to get the parts for the contractors, because look, these are pros. And if you want an easy to use website that's packed with helpful resources and the latest product info to help you get the job done right, they have over 200,000 parts from 400 plus brands, and you'll find exactly what you need delivered fast. You need help with an order? Supply House offers expert support and industry leading service, so you'll always talk to a real person. And for trade pros looking for the extra edge, the free Trade Master program offers exclusive perks like a dedicated phone line, free shipping, and discounts on every order. Thousands of skilled professionals are already taking advantage. Now it's your turn. So join the Trade Master program today at supplyhouse.com/TM and start ordering plumbing, HVAC, and electrical supplies with just a few clicks. Plus, use the promo code SH5 for 5% off your first order. That's supplyhouse.com.
Hey guys, thank you for making Locked On Astros podcast your first listen every day. Whether it's on YouTube, go ahead, subscribe to us, make us first listen. Apple, Odyssey, Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcast, go and check us out. So sometimes it's where you're playing. So I just saw a tweet by Brian McTaggart, and it's basically saying that the Astros at home are 11-7. So at home, they've got a winning record. On the road, they're 6-11. So against AL teams, they are 12-9. Against NL teams, they are 5-9. So also you have a team where you have a guy like Chad Patrick. A lot of us have not heard of this guy before today, but the Astros were not comfortable with him up there. So I know people have been freaking out about the back-to-back sacrifice bunts. You had Smith go ahead and get the leadoff double. And then you had Pena, who's moved up to the leadoff spot. He sacrificed. Okay, maybe for Altuve. Altuve's kind of been your guy for many years. So I can understand that. Maybe wish that Pena, who's been hot recently, maybe swing through and try to drive the ball a little bit. But that just shows how he was not comfortable in this game. He only had one strikeout, but still he did not feel comfortable. Then Altuve came up and he bunted out as well. And so you had back-to-back sacrifice bunts or attempts.
Right. Okay, but here's the thing though, Eric. I know Pena's your hottest hitter, but with no outs, that's not a bad play, sacrificing over. But if I'm sacrificing over, I'm going to have Altuve try to hit. And I know, Altuve started hot and he's cooled off. Or the other way around, you get Jeremy Pena to hit the ball. If he goes first, you got guys on first and third, then you can bunt, but then you got a guy on first and you got to worry about the double play. So I understand Altuve tried to go that bunt looked like what we used to do on RBI baseball. Growing up, I remember on one of the original game systems we played RBI baseball, you could bunt a home run over the fence. It was like the first version of RBI baseball. It was so cool. And that's what it looked like Jose Altuve was doing, because that ball he hit off his bat was a line drive to the third baseman, Eric. And like bunting to the third baseman, I don't know about that. Why not go to the first baseman? It sucks. Okay. It was a bad sequence, but 2 bunt attempts in a row seems a bit excessive. And then, of course, Isaac Paredes, what does he do? He grounds out. He can't bring the guy home. You get that run in, it's a 4-4 game because Brendan Rodgers ties it up there in the 7th inning. We're talking extra innings. The team has scored 3 runs or less in 21 of their, how many games have they played? 35 games. So in 21 of their 35 games, they've scored 3 runs or less. That's not good. That is actually quite terrible. And again, shuffling the lineup, Eric, like, what's it going to do? I mean, who's going to hit? Are you going to have Jake leading off? I mean, you can't. I mean, Espada's put out 28, 29, 30 different lineups. So it's not like he hasn't switched things up. And yes, someone's like, oh, well, he was making excuses after the game. Joe Espada is not going to throw his team under the bus. Joe Espada is a manager, and a manager is not going to sit there and throw his guys under the bus because they're not performing. You think that's going to help them perform? No. But something's got to change. Their approach, their game plan, whatever it is. I just don't think firing hitting coaches change it. Now, when you see an injection of offense after a hitting coach is fired, a lot of times that's the player saying, oh, crap, like I just lost someone their job. I better get on it. And it's like you said, it's temporary. It's not something that's permanent. But then again, at the end of this year, will you see the Astros go in a different direction? And will you see the Astros actually go after some star power as far as bats outside of what they got this year? You know, I know they went and got Walker. I know they went and got Paredes. But, man, gosh, I just want Kyle Tucker back. I'm hurting right now. I'm hurting because Kyle Tucker's not an Astro. And I get it. I understand it. But,
this guy also wants the Rockets to go get Kevin Durant or some other big time star. So,
Durant, hold on.
Durant or some. Well, aren't they going to go out and get? This is Locked On Astros. We can talk about that later.
Yeah, we're not going to talk about the Rockets right now. They just
my whole point for bringing up the bunt is I don't think Joe Espada gave the bunt sign. I think that this was a decision. Maybe Pena got the bunt sign. Maybe that was a situation where he makes they trusted his bunting skills. But I think that Altuve probably made that decision on his own, and the way he hit it maybe kind of leads to the fact that he decided to do that on his own, trying to get a base hit or a bunt hit or something like that. So to blame this all on Espada, I mean, yes, he's made some interesting decisions, but I don't think the bunt is on him. But something that while we're all complaining about this game and the Astros are 17-18 after 35 games, last year at this point, they are 12-23. Just imagine how much we were crying and whining about this last year. But they went to the playoffs. They figured it out. Are we as confident this year? No, I don't think we have the same star power. We don't have the Astros just don't have Tucker out there. They don't have Bregman out there. They don't.
Well, they would have the star power.
Alvarez.
Yeah, we don't have Alvarez. If Christian Walker had 9 or 10 home runs, our tune would be different. It's just the guys that are here that are supposed to be producing, they're not producing. But Eric, this offense has not been great, has not taken great leaps offensively since 2019. Even in 2022, as strong as they were, 23, what happened? 24, what happened? You know what I'm saying? So we've definitely been struggling. This is a pattern. The pattern, is it the personnel on the field? Is it the personnel in the front office? I don't know.
Yeah. And I think it's just going to matter. They're of the 5 games on this road trip, they've lost 4 of them. they're struggling to score runs. The pitching that was so dominant for a while there, it's finding some leaks right now. And this is also when they're introducing Lance McCullers into the rotation. I don't think it's his fault, but also they're thinking about going to a 6-man rotation at some point. So this is all happening at the worst time, because just think about it. They have, starting 9th, they're going to have 17 straight games in a row. So the Astros are having used the bullpen a lot right now. Yes, they did good. The bullpen did great, but you're having to overuse the bullpen. And I think that this is going to hurt them down the road. So hopefully the Astros figure out who needs to be in rotation, what's going to happen. And Lance McCullers does much better. I mean, not that he did terrible, but he goes deeper into the game. Wesneski goes deeper into the game next time around. But the Astros are still not as bad. No matter what we say at this point, they're not as bad as they were last year. And so
in 2024, they were 12-23. Okay. But they're a far cry from their 2022 team of 23-12. And the 21 team at 18-17, I would say, was far better than the 17-18, 25 Astros. So look, we can do this all day. We can compare records as a fan base of the Astros, where they are from year to year. None of that matters. Springer having a career year doesn't matter. Carlos Correa crushing a ball in Minnesota doesn't matter. As much as I hate or love or see Kyle Tucker and Alex Bregman have their success, hey, look, one benefit I get to add to my card collection. I had a free Topps Now card, and Topps sent me what was called a lucky strike, and I got a 10 out of 10 Alex Bregman 5-hit game card. So thank you, Topps, for sending me that. That was awesome. So there's that. You can enjoy it and revel in your collection if you're a Bregman or Kyle Tucker collector. The Astros just got to turn the table tomorrow, and they watch this one, and hopefully they can get a win in Milwaukee before they head home and hopefully catch fire.
And Framber Valdez is on the mound. Hopefully he's got his A game on, because the Astros need a W. Then you get back to 500 before a day off, and then you start that long streak of 17 straight games where you're going to have to use you're going to have a short bullpen because you're having 6-man rotation. So guys, thank you for becoming the best part of the Locked On Astros podcast. We will see you tomorrow. Hopefully we'll talk about Astros victory. My name is Eric Huysman. He's Brett Chancey. Go ahead and make us your first listen on Apple, Odyssey, Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcasts. Go and check us out, and we will see you tomorrow.
Go Stros.
Bunt.